Hey everyone, today we're diving into a parenting idea that's, well, it's a little counterintuitive. It asks us to stop trying so hard to fix our kids and instead to take a really honest look in the mirror. So what does that actually mean?
Okay, so this one quote is pretty much the foundation for everything we're about to talk about. The idea is that you, your hopes, your fears, your whole outlook on life, you're basically the paintbrush that colors your child's reality. And the kicker is, most of the time, we don't even realize we're painting.
All right, let's jump into our first big idea, thinking of the parent's heart as a mold for the child. It's this concept that your inner world, the stuff going on inside your head and heart, is invisibly shaping your kid.
And when we say mold, we're not talking about your house rules or the discipline tactics you use. Nope, it's about your internal state, that vibe, that energy you carry around. Every single word, every little reaction, even just an exhausted sigh, it's all silently sculpting who your child is becoming.
So, let's make this real. Let's say, deep down, you truly believe the world is this harsh, competitive battlefield. A constant fight where you have to win. Well, that belief you hold inside, it doesn't just stay there. It leaks out and becomes this invisible pressure. You don't even have to say a word, but suddenly you're loading your kid up with this heavy, constant need to always be on top. And wow, the difference here is just night and day. Your inner world is basically contagious. If you're generally calm and happy, your child learns to see the world through that same gentle filter. But on the flip side, if your life is all chaos and anxiety, your kid gets totally lost in that storm. They lose their own sense of who they are.
Okay, but it doesn't stop there. This whole molding thing can actually get a lot more intense. This next part is what we might call the anxious sculpting knife. It's where our own regrets and our own anxieties become the very tools we use to carve away at our children.
I bet this looks pretty familiar, right? Anxious parenting tends to zero in on piling up these external skills. Gotta have the high test scores, the piano lessons, the art classes. The idea is that all these skills will build some kind of fortress to protect them. But what gets completely missed is the foundation of that fortress, the child's actual internal happiness.
And where does this pressure usually start? Well, it often comes from a parent's own past. That quiet little regret from your own childhood. I never got to learn piano, so you better believe my kid is going to learn it. That right there, that's the projection. The whole thing isn't even about the child's own passion. It's about the parent using their kid as a second chance to fix their own unfulfilled dreams.
And this brings us to a really powerful quote. All failed parents have one thing in common. They never care if the child is happy, only if they should be doing something. The focus just completely shifts, right? It goes from who the child is, are they happy, are they curious, to what the child is doing. Are you practicing? Are you getting good grades? The question, are you happy, just gets totally replaced by, did you finish your homework?
And honestly, this is the real tragedy of it all. You can end up with a child who looks amazing on paper, so many skills, so many accomplishments, but inside they're incredibly fragile. They have all the tools, but none of the inner strength to actually use them. The moment they face a real setback, they just crumble.
Okay, so this is where we get to a huge shift in perspective. This is kind of the aha moment of this whole idea. What if all those problems we're working so hard to fix in our kids aren't actually their problems to begin with? Think about it. When you see your child struggling, maybe with anxiety or they're acting out, or they just have no confidence, where's the real root of that problem?
It's in the hand holding the brush.
The source of the problem isn't the canvas, it's the artist. What a powerful way to reframe this, right? A child comes into the world like a blank piece of paper, just pure potential. The problems we think we see are really just the smudges and the frantic, anxious brushstrokes coming from our own unsteady hand.
So what if we just completely changed our perspective? What if we stopped seeing our child as this project that needs to be perfected, and instead saw them as a kind of guide, a little mirror, reflecting back at us exactly where we need to do some work, where we need to heal? The things that trigger you the most about your child, they're often just giant, flashing signs pointing to your own unresolved stuff.
Okay, so if the problem is the hand holding the brush, then what's the solution? Well, it's not about finding some new parenting hack or technique. It's about the parent going on their own journey of self-improvement.
And a huge part of that starts with redefining what love really is in this context. It's not about control. It's not about forcing our own dreams onto them. Real love is about acceptance. It's about seeing the masterpiece that's already there instead of trying to chisel it into something you think it should be.
And the path to doing this? Well, it's pretty simple, but it's definitely not easy. First, you just have to stop. Seriously, just hit the brakes on projecting all your own stuff onto them. Second, you have to look inward and reflect. Then comes the hard part, accepting the parts of yourself that you've maybe been avoiding. And finally, you commit to your own journey of growth.
And that, right there, is the biggest takeaway of all. This whole messy, beautiful, crazy process of raising a child, it's not really about raising a child at all. It's a massive opportunity to raise yourself. When you work on becoming more whole, more at peace, you automatically create the space for your child to just naturally bloom.
So, I want to leave you with this one last thought to chew on. Instead of pouring all our energy into trying to shape and fix and change our kids, what would happen if we redirected just some of that energy inward? What if we focused on steadying our own hand first? Just imagine what kind of masterpiece we could paint then.